Okay, so g'day, welcome back to Gourmet's Coins and Banknotes, and today we just have a few items that are for resale, and these are actually Spanish banknotes. If you don't know what Spain is in Spanish, it's Espina. Now, I don't know if that pronunciation is correct. I don't speak Spanish, I speak more Cantonese than Spanish. Anyway, so we have the earliest banknotes issued before the Franco takeover of the actual country. So that was 1939, in which the Nationalists won the Civil War. So Civil War 1936-39, in which the Republicans fought the Nationalists, and the Republic of Spain from 1931 to 39 issued these banknotes, but these are dated 1928, so these were issued in the Kingdom of Spain. And as you can see, they don't have a monarch on them. And that's the interesting thing about these banknotes. And it makes them nice and collectible, as well as I like the back of the banknotes. All the back of the banknotes have some type of portrait and probably an artwork a lot of the time. So, and the smallest denomination is, I don't know, I think it's 25 centimos, probably even one if you go to the note geld issue that have been issued over various time periods. So we have this 25 pesetas. So this one was also issued in the 30s, and the only way you can tell is the serial numbers. So this one is a dark blue and grey print. So we're dark blue there, the border is a dark grey. Has red in it, you can see a red hue, especially in the portrait. Okay, it has a bust of Pedro Calderon de la Barca. No idea who this guy is. The watermark is somewhat unidentified, or they say unidentified. I reckon it might be a Fina, or probably a Roman equivalent, which I'm not too sure who it is. And the monument is the Pedro Calderon monument in Madrid. So obviously this is a monument to that guy. So all these images relate to the person who's in the actual picture. And usually the watermark is the person that's also in the picture as well, but in this case it's not. So this is an intaglio letterpress type of print, which to most people doesn't mean anything. And if you want to get one of these, you're probably paying about $10 to $20. In this condition, which is, I would say, very fine, has lots of folds, but it's still relatively crisp. So if you go like that, hear that sound? That means it's crisp. If you don't hear that, it's not crisp. Okay, so and it just says, Bank of Spain, blah, 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 blah. We'll pay the bearer 25 pesetas. And while they did have silver and gold coins, the last silver coin was issued in 1933. I think gold coins had stopped being minted at this time period. Okay, and we've got the cashier. We have governor and administrator. And there's only one signature series, 40s. And it's printed by Bradbury Wilkinson. So they do print a lot of nice banknotes. And this side only has the one print of the serial numbers. On the back, in each of the corners, we have 4 prints of the serial numbers. And this side we have the it says Numster says Cross of the Order of Santiago, so that's what we're looking at here, the cross. Rearing lion. So where's the lion? Yeah, I don't know. So we need to look that up. And this seems to be related to the Order of Santiago, which was an organization that was founded in 1170. And its initial purpose was to drive the Muslims from Spain, which at the time occupied majority of the Iberian Peninsula, and later on, it came to symbolize the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela in Galicia. So Galicia is north of Portugal, and it's in a corner of Spain, and they speak a Galician, which is probably, some people say it's like a dialect of Portuguese. But that's basically what they're looking at. And this artwork, so it is an artwork, which I can't find that much information on. So I've been reading about the actual prerequisites into the order. So at the start, it was probably open to pretty much most of the nobility and those who were in power. And then they slowly excluded people who actually worked. So anyone who done manual labour or industrial labour were excluded. So it really just means that they were letting in people who pretty much did nothing. They were just free loafers. And it was eventually they excluded people who were against the Catholic faith, attorneys, whatever, moneylenders, people who were well known to the public, so public figures, which is really strange, retail merchants, or had worked where they lived. So I'm taking all this off Wikipedia, so I'm not too sure if this is accurate, where they lived. So pretty much farmers, which at the time would have excluded the majority of the population. And so pretty much this was just, rich people saying, we're so special. Yeah, we are the special ones. So I've tried to actually look for this painting. It's actually quite nice. So we have nobility and obviously around the actual cross itself. And in the background, we have a lot of other people. And it looks like some of them probably local militia. And we have a castle. And here we have the coat of arms of some region. Okay, so this is quite a nice banknote. Which, this is why I got it. Because I like this side. And Spanish banknotes of this time period are all the same. Okay, so the next one we have, so this one probably costs about $10 to $20, is a 50%er. This one's from 1928, so the same date series. And in 1928, they issued 25, 50, 100, 500, and 1000. The last two, 500 and 1000, are a bit harder to get. So this one is a violet underprint on the back. You can see it's like a purplish colour, and reddish brown and green underprint, so obviously underneath. And this one's also Bradbury Wilkinson. And we have a bust of a painter, Diego Rodriguez de Silva. Yeah, I'm not even going to say the rest of his name. All it does, it just has his surname down below. And look at that moustache, man. Wow, that's such a thing. It's like riding a motorbike. Also, the watermark is a woman. And this woman is Juana Pancheres. Okay, wife of an artist. Yeah, and that was a painting by this guy. Okay, so that's related to him. So it's someone else's wife, but he painted it, and that's why they've included in the watermark. Okay, so from here on, the watermarks are related to whoever's on this. And the building that we have there is the Prado Museum, which is called Museo del Prado, and it is in Madrid. So established 1819. Blah blah blah. It would have been probably slightly altered as they change or add and remove features. Like they would have had to put electricity, so they would have had to put cables, so they would have had to damage the walls. And wow, one thing I didn't say about these serial numbers. So for the ones issued by the Kingdom, with this one, any of them A 7,780,000 and lower, was issued by the Kingdom of Spain. Over 7.7 million was issued by the Republicans. So this was issued by Republicans. And they go up to E, and while Numisler doesn't give how many were actually produced, if there's 10 million per prefix, and it goes up to E, that's 50 million banknotes. So it shouldn't be too hard. But when you look at it, current modern banknotes have a print run of something like 100, 300 million, which makes it very common. So these are pretty common for the number of banknotes actually printed. But a majority of Spanish banknotes have a print run probably 10 million or less. So that makes them pretty hard to get. And probably a majority of them never survived. Okay, now we have, what's 40, 50 pesetas. Once again, the front of it's not that bad, but I like the back of it. And the back of it has a painting, The Surrender of Breda by Velázquez. Now, this one I can find information on. And this one was printed probably, painted in 1850s and 1930s, that time period, so quite modern. This one was printed 1632 to 35. So obviously it's close to 400 years old. And it would have been painted in, and it's in the Museo di Prado. So obviously that's where that comes in. So it's in this museum. And what we have here is blah blah blah, a golden age, painter Santiago Valenquez, visited somewhere, whatever. Okay, inspired by his visit to Italy with Spinola, so probably another artist. The Genoese, so he was born in Italy, born a Spanish general who conquered Breda, in 1625. Okay, the painting depicts the exchange of keys of Breda from the Dutch to the Spanish. So obviously this guy's got the keys. He's Dutch, Spanish. Obviously the Dutch had surrendered and were handing over the keys. So a lot of these time period, if you surrendered, you could take your arms and just walk out and go your own merry way, even though the war was still on. It was just more noble than slaughtering the people. Like, I remember when the Athenians, they lost in Sicily and they surrendered. Majority of them were either sold as slaves or executed. So really, surrender is not an option in that case. Okay, now with the serial numbers, as you can see, there's 4 in the corner. We have the coat of arms. The watermark is what we explained before. And this is actually, look, the horse is showing its ass here. Beautiful horse, kiss its ass. Okay, so the numbers A, 8.64 million and lower were issued under the kingdom, and all the other ones, so above A, 8.6 to E, were issued in the Republic era. So basically there's A to E, and that makes 60 million banknotes printed. So knowing how many banknotes are actually printed is actually quite easy. Just 10 million in the numeral series, then you count the letters of the alphabet. So that one is the 50. Okay, then we've got the 100. So we've got 2 of the different 100 series. So we have the 1928 and we have the 1925. Look at the 1925 first. So this is probably my favorite of the ones that I do have. So this one is a dark blue printing on top with green, shades of green. So here's the main green series. And the underprint is red. So obviously the red's in the background. And it shows King Philip II. And he was dubbed the Prudent of Spain. And that's a painting by Tiziano in Augsburg, so obviously current Germany. And the watermark is also the king as well. And this is the monastery and site of Escorial. Historical residence of the King of Spain in the town of San Lorenzo de El Escorial. Gee, I don't think that town name is actually long enough. They need to actually put another 20 words in it to make it like a paragraph. Okay, so these ones sell for probably about $10 to $20, depending on condition. Obviously, lower the grade, the lower the value. They only have the one signature series, although there is one which is missing the cashier. So that is it doesn't say which one's missing the cashier. Probably just the ones issued by the Republicans. Okay, so initially they were A to D, and the D ones go to 2 million, so this is over, and they were issued under the kingdom, and the Republican ones are anything over D 2 million. So this one's D 3,071,114. So this was issued between 1931 and 39, and because we have A, B, C, D, E, F, there's pretty much 60 million of these banknotes printed. Now there is G with 5 million, but they were never issued. They seem to be harder to get. And let's have a look at the back of the banknote. So this one's why I like it, because it has an orange border. It just brings out the image that they're portraying in this really well. And this is the, okay, so it says dark blue, red underprint. Reproduction of the picture by historical theme Alvarez. Okay, da Silla de Philip II. So obviously Philip II. So he's probably the guy sitting down with the funny hat on his head. We have a dog in the foreground, where the rock in the form of a chair is seen where the king supervised works of El Escorial. So obviously they're building this. So all this is related. So we have this guy who built this and also resided there. And on this side, he's also overseeing the actual building of the, well, it looks like the foundations. So they're actually chipping away at the actual of the rock. Okay, so this wasn't in the Escorial itself. It was actually on a high ridge in which you could oversee the actual building of it. So instead of getting in the way and going down and going with everyone, what are you doing? No, you do it like this. No, you don't do that. You do this. You do that way. You know, telling people who know what they're doing how to do it better when you have no idea yourself. Because being the king doesn't mean you actually are really good at anything. It just means you're the king. Okay, so that's the 100, and the last banknote we have is probably the most common of the series. As you can see, sometimes they're ripped, because to put it in your wallet, you need to fold it in half. Even wallets of the time period, the same size as what they are now. And so these ones are actually quite big, and that's pretty common for banknotes of this series. So you'll see the UK 1 to 5 and 10 pound banknotes, which are just printed on one side. They're larger than this. They're usually folded in 4. The Russian banknotes also folded, and the German banknotes as well. Okay, so here we have a violet and black print. Okay, and underneath it says multicolored, but it looks like it's mainly just yellows and blues with the underprint, and topped off with a pretty much mostly blue, and we have black here. So this is Miguel de Cervantes. I can't even pronounce his name. So Saavedra. So I'm not too familiar with pronouncing Spanish names. And we have a plaza named after him in Madrid. So obviously this is related to him. So that's his monument. And the watermark is also him as well. He has a nice moustache. Looks like an airplane or something like that. And what's this? Little pom-poms or something around his neck. Now I know this has a specific name, but it makes him look a bit silly considering the styles that I like, which is a feral style. Okay, so the back of the banknote has, okay, so it's blue and green. Mostly looks blue, and also has violet, I would say. Red serial numbers, painting. So all these have paintings on it. By The Encounter of the Duke by Dom Quixote. No idea. So, An Encounter of the Duke. Okay, so that's a Duke, noble status. Obviously, at the time period, you kneel. Well, you do that now. When you go to Thailand, you have to do it. Duke and Duchess encounter Dong and invite them to the palace. Okay, so that's Dom and Sancho. So I don't know which one's Sancho. So, and they invite them to the palace for amusement and practical jokes. Now, I'm not too sure if they're the practical joke, because noble people like to humiliate those that are lower, and that's why a lot of the time period they actually got killed themselves. Mess with people you don't really want to mess with. Okay. And okay, so Numis says circulation of 1928 banknotes. None of the 100, 500, 1000 were released before the date, and they are considered as Republic issue. So this one, date 1928, 100 pesos. So all of them issued by the Republic. And there's about 20 million of these banknotes. So that means that there's an A and B series. So you got 10 million A, and then you got 10 million B. So if you see a C or D series, then most likely it is something that's not being reported. So, and I reckon the border should have been probably a lighter colour. It would have brought out this. So that's why this one is the best, because you got the same colours, but it's just that the orange around it brings out the image a lot better than this. So let me see it on the other banknotes. The border doesn't bring it out. So even if they made the border darker, it still would have brought it out. So if they made it black or dark green, just a different colour just changes it. But as you can see, Spanish did honour their artworks. These are actually quite a nice banknote series to get. So if you get a chance and you see some for a price that you're willing to pay, then they are something that you should get just for the reverse of itself, and if you're into history. Anyway, I'm going to read about the Nagasanawa coinage, which there's actually a 135 page PDF, which I'm going to make a video on later on. Anyway, thank you very much. Have an awesome coin and banknote collecting time. And just remember, visit New Zealand at least once in your lifetime. Thank you and goodbye.